Perfect. Thank you all so much for joining us for this real estate trends edition of the Wadena County Coffee Talks. I believe I know everyone on the line, but just for formality's sake, I'm Katie Hepner, Director of the Economic Alliance. Many of you have been joining us since March of 2020 when we started these bi-weekly talks. So I thank you for sticking with us and hanging out on a Monday morning. A few housekeeping items. One, please mute yourself if you're not talking. By this time, I should have $1 every time I say that. We all should. We'd be millionaires. And then also feel free to unmute yourself when you want to ask a question or put it in the chat, whatever you're more comfortable with. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Kyle Davis with Davis Appraisals, who's going to talk us through some residential real estate trends he's been noticing. Kyle?
Thanks, Katie. Everyone can hear me okay? Just want to make sure we're good. Okay, thumbs up. Yeah, so I think I know majority of the people on here as well. For those that do not know me, my name is Kyle Davis. Graduating class of 2002 from Wadena Deer Creek, go Wolverines. And anyway, real estate appraiser here in town since 2006. With Davis Appraisals, started by my father. And then I own my own real estate investing company with a bunch of rentals here in Wadena as well, and flipping houses and stuff like that. As far as trends and the future of real estate, first and foremost, this is just my opinion. Okay, this is not facts. Don't in your prayers tonight, tell Jesus that I said something, and now Jesus is going to hold it against me if it's wrong. So this is just my educated opinion on some things. Okay. If 2022 ends up being like 2021, we are going to see astronomical prices for real estate value and nothing for sale. If I printed out some stuff, I'm not going to share my screen or anything like that. So I did two different kind of searches, one for just the city of Wadena itself and one for Wadena County. And the total number of sales, just sales in general of real estate stuff in the city of Wadena in 2020 was 81 total sales. And then in 2021, it was 75. So kind of around the same amount. But what was interesting is the total number of listings, how many things were actually for sale. And in 2020, it was 47. And in 2021, it was 28. So almost cut in half the number of sales. And I saw the same kind of trend for Wadena County overall as well. The total number of sales being around the same, but the total number of listings almost being cut in half. And then to top it all, and then the other thing too is what I've been seeing is what the average, we can, with our database and stuff, we can pull average sales prices of homes. And in the city of Wadena, the average sales price in 2020 was around that $120,000 mark was the average sales price of homes in Wadena. And now in 2021, the average sales price is around 135, 140. And who was it? Bloomberg just came out with an article today that nationwide, the average increase of real estate from the last year was 18%, which is single-handedly the biggest increase in value historically ever recorded. So one of my concerns is obviously a concern with that is a correction is coming, right? That's historically speaking, real estate cycles last, they go about every 10 to 12 years. So the last peak was 2006, and 2006, 2007 was the last peak. And so it's been well over 10 years since 2006. And you can thank our government for printing out money like crazy to try to keep everybody's pockets full, and bailouts and all that fun stuff. Uh, so that being said, do I see a correction coming? Um, I think so, but I don't think it's going to happen in the next year or two, simply because at this time there's still nothing for sale. You know, supply and demand. At the end of the day, supply and demand. If there's the demand is crazy high for real estate right now nationwide, and there's just nobody listing their homes for sale. So as long as that trajectory still is occurring, real estate values are not dropping. Um, the Fed just over the last, even with the Fed, and interest rates, interest rates in 2021 were at historic lows. You could get your house on a 30-year fixed rate at 2.4%, 2.6%, something like that on a 30-year fixed. I I just refinanced my house at 3.6%. I was a little late to the game. But what is interesting, and I just talked to a loan officer here on Friday, and I confirmed this with the Fed interest rate stuff, is that just in the last 30 days, so the Fed is noticing all this inflation. So their way to combat that is to, increase the interest rates. And they just did one of the largest increases in rates um, in the last month. So they just normally I pay pretty close attention to this stuff due to my real estate stuff, just making sure where interest rates are at. And rarely do they make a 1% shift in a short period of time. Normally you'll see a 0.1, 0.2% month in, month out that'll do this little, jockeying around and stuff like that. But they just raised it by 1% in February. From the beginning of February to now we're at the end of February. It's up 1%, which maybe doesn't sound like a big deal, but if you have a mortgage of $300,000, $400,000, obviously there's not very many $300,000, $400,000 homes here in Wadena, Minnesota, or in Wadena County, but nationwide, I, interesting fact, the average sales price of homes nationwide is $328,000. That's the average sales price. They did that same article that talked about increasing nationwide 18%. They came out with a fact that said the average sales price of homes is $328,000 for the year of 2021. Anyway, but 1% interest difference on something of that nature, that's a sizable amount of money you're saving. So even with the government coming in and increasing interest rates, I think that's going to do a couple things. One is that I think the primary one is that it's just going to wipe out a lot of potential buyers, right? That people just can't. The values are going skyrocket high, and now they're increasing interest rates. I mean, people are going to start priced out of the market and stuff like that. Which is unfortunate, but I don't know what the answer to that is. And I heard that the rumor mill is that they're going to try to reduce the interest rate here a little bit, even due to the Russia-Ukraine stuff, and all these things that have little to do with Wadena, Minnesota, but yet will affect Wadena, Minnesota. So I guess that's I just threw a whole gamut at you there real quick, but at the end of the day, from a real estate valuation standpoint, I see 2022 being gangbusters with values. So if you want to sell your house, now's the time to sell your house. But I will say that at the same time, there is incredible demand, but the average buyer is substantially smarter now. Yeah, there's some people out there that want to buy houses, but if you overprice your house by a lot, like, it's going to sit. It's going to sit. And that's what I've seen here locally, is some homes just with astronomical prices on them, and they've been for sale for a long time. And and that, which actually leads me to my next point, is the length of time it's taken for real estate to sell. Before, here's an interesting fact, is before 2020, the average time it took to sell a house in Wadena County was 3 to 6 months. Okay, that was if it was priced correctly, it would take about 3 to 6 months tops for you to sell a house, right? In both 2020 and especially in 2021, the average days on market was 23. So it went from 3 months to 3 weeks. So if your house is priced appropriately and you want to sell, you're going to get top dollar and you're going to get it sold very fast. And so the another thing they track is how much it's selling for in relation to what you have it listed for. It's averaging at 99.5%. So if you got your house listed for 100, it's going to sell more than likely for 99.5 is what that means. So anyway, it's definitely a seller's market right now. Buyers, I mean, they got to have their stuff together if they want to buy. Something comes up for sale, they got to have their in this area, I've never seen it so just crazy for buyers. Like, you better be ready to go view that place right now. You better have your pre-approval right now, all of your financing lined up right now, because there's 5 offers coming at that property within 48 hours. And that's like that stuff you hear in like California and Florida, not Wadena, Minnesota, but it's happening. And I see a lot of people even selling their homes without a realtor, and if I want to double check to make sure there's no realtors here in this group, but they would probably confirm it, that people are just getting more educated. It's the information age, and they feel confident in selling the home themselves. And with the demand as crazy it is, it's happening left and right. So anyway, all that to say, I think 2022 is going to be a really great year for real estate again. Buyers are going to have a tough time to try to find something. Things are going to still move like crazy, even with interest rates going up a little bit. I don't think the interest rate thing is going to affect Wadena County as much, simply because the prices aren't very high, right? Your average sales price is $140,000. Well, your monthly payment, on a $140,000 mortgage, 3% versus 4% isn't as significant as something that's $500,000, if that makes sense. So that's what I see 2022 looking at. I still think construction prices are going to be astronomical. Again, I got a good buddy who does, he builds a bunch of apartment complexes here up in Ottertail and stuff. And I was trying to get him to go in with me on one in Wadena. And he said he's got to pull the reins back because his concrete is up 30%, his asphalt is up 30%, and Ryan, you could probably confirm on the hospital, how much your guys' construction costs have gone up lately, and just because of material costs and stuff. And what's the cause and effect of all that stuff? I have no idea. All I know is I'd like to own a lumber mill. I'll tell you that. Should get into the lumber mill business, because man, a 2x4 is just crazy right now. And so I think construction is going to be very expensive, and as is always the challenge in our area, is that cost does not equal value. Even before all this stuff in 2020, 2021, when we got asked to do an appraisal on new construction, you wanted to build a brand new home, rarely, if ever, did it appraise out to what your costs are. I started tracking for the last several years what our average appraisals were in relation to cost. And if you hired a contractor to do everything, I mean, it was like at 85%. So if it costs you 100 grand to build something, it's only appraising at 85 grand, which is insanely tough then to get a mortgage because the bank wants 80% loan to value to begin with, right? So you're already in the opposite direction of where it needs to appraise. And then to top it all off, you got the bank needing, a bunch of equity. So, so yeah, it's crazy, but, so that's what I see with, some new construction, but at the same time, people are still building, people got money. 2021 was really good financially for a lot of people, and they're still building. What was interesting was that the other thing I saw was one of my things I tried to do this year was to try to buy a VRBO in Otter County on a lake somewhere. And these people from Minneapolis, especially when the George Floyd riots started, they were buying things sight unseen, all cash, didn't care. Just coming in $500,000, don't care. Here you go, all cash, 515. Don't care. They just had the money and they wanted to get out of Dodge. And so yeah, I ended up not buying anything because it was just so competitive that it's like, heck with this, I'll go somewhere else. So it's 2022 is probably going to be the same as 2021, pending. I don't want to say this, and I'm not trying to joke about this or anything like that, but pending how this Russia thing escalates, I think it's going to be the same, just bonkers. Then to swing over to the rental side of things, I saw a 15% increase in rents last year. From, and you could, again, I made in my presentation last year to talk about this, it's exactly the same this year. The number of people looking for affordable rentals right now is just bonkers. I put a $525 2-bedroom 1-bath rental, 3 years ago, I would have 10 people inquire on it, and 1 or 2 of them would be pretty solid, and you sign one of those 2. Now that 525 apartment 2 years ago is now 625, and I got 40 people inquire, like literally, I'm not even exaggerating. Like I tracked one about 4 months ago. In 2 weeks, I had 65 people ask about it on a 2-bedroom apartment in Wadena. 65 different inquiries. Now, easily half of them was just somebody kicking a tire, right? So but you still got 30 of them that were like pretty serious. Like, yeah, we gave applications to 30 of them. And that's always kind of how it goes. You have your bunch of people, half of them are kicking a tire, then half of them are actually serious enough to fill out an application. And then half of those is actually worth, trying to do a little bit of due diligence, when they got 5 felonies or something like that. You just, thank you, but this is not, you don't qualify. But it's, and so you can just take your pick. And I've seen some stuff out there on like Facebook Swap and Shop of a 2-bedroom 1-bath bare bones going for $700 a month. And I'm just like, there is no stinking way somebody's going to be that desperate and stupid to take a 700, a bare bones 2-bedroom 1-bath. And sure enough, like they're what do? You need a place to live, right? At the end of the day, you need a place to live. That's just one of the foundational, survivability things. Everyone needs a roof over their head. And when there's nothing to choose from, like, what do? You got to pay that's the only thing available. You got to pay the $700. So I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of answers from affordability standpoint here in Wadena. The prices you can get on rentals is so stinking crazy, or what rentals are charging for right now. It's just crazy. If you can find something, a 2-bedroom for under even $600 now, like you better sign the dotted line real quick, because you ain't gonna get it anywhere else. And even some of these 1-bedrooms that are, 200 square feet going for 600 some square, $600 a month, and they're getting filled up. I don't know. It's just bonkers. So anyway, everything is sky high. Everything's sky high. Interest rates are increasing. Russia's invaded Ukraine. I don't stinking know what to do anymore.
Thank you for the motivational speech this morning, Kyle.
Yes.
Really
Yes.
cherish those uplifting words.
Yes.
But in all seriousness, great information. You threw a lot at us. I want to know who has questions. Maria, you had your hand up earlier.
I did, and he touched base on it. Kyle touched base on it. I was going to ask him about the new construction and how the new construction fit into this. It seems like we are seeing quite a bit of new construction, surprisingly, with the prices up the way they are. But I also see that maybe going in a downward trend because of the cost of materials. So, and then you touch base on the appraisal of the new construction because it's not pricing out the way that people want it to price out. And I agree with the rental unit. I have a personal rental unit that I listed, and I bet you my phone blew up with like 100 applicants.
Yeah.
It was just crazy.
Yeah, don't put your own phone number on an application anymore. I learned that lesson when I got to 60 some. Like, nope, that's never happening again.
Yeah,
So,
it blew up. It was crazy.
So and Maria, to touch on that construction stuff, 2021, the saving grace for the construction industry was the really low interest rates.
Right.
Like that was hands down the saving grace. Like, okay, yeah, your material costs might go up 20%, but an interest rate at 2.6%, okay, well now you can afford it, right? So, and that's, talking to Jason and Jimmy Miracle, that's exactly what they said. I went in there in the summer of 2021, or sorry, the spring of 2021, asked them how their industry was going with everything, and they said it's going crazy. Even though prices are really high, it's still going crazy just because everybody's interest rates are so low. So I think that might take a turn, for the worse. I mean, it'd still be fine, but I think it'll decrease because of the interest rates, instead of being at 2.6, now this morning, a 30-year was at 4.15.
Right. Which still is actually pretty good, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. Historically, you look at it from like a 10, if not for sure a 20. I mean, I know there's probably people on here that could say, in 1985, my interest rate was 18%,
Correct.
So yeah, historically speaking, that's still really low, but I don't know what the psychological principle is called, but the minute you toss out somebody 2.65% and now it's at 4.25%, grumble. I ain't doing it now. I'm just going to sit and wait, and yeah.
Thank you. Good information.
Yeah, thanks, Maria.
Any other questions for Kyle? Feel free to unmute yourself. Going once. Oh, Mayor Dice, I saw you unmuted yourself. Do you have a question?
I did. I just wanted to ask Kyle if that flamethrower thing worked for him. He'll know what I'm talking about.
Let's just say the fire department did not need to get called.
Okay, good deal.
Yes, if you need assistance in removing an ice dam on the roof of your house, flamethrowers is one option.
That's a hot tip, probably one I won't be taking or shouldn't be trusted taking that advice.
Correct. I am not a licensed professional of removing ice dams, nor am I a fire remediation person. So
I do have another question then, Kyle, because a lot of homeowners, homes that are for sale, some of them have been outdated. Are people updating a lot of the stuff in their homes? even at that, the cost of materials is still high, but is it increasing their values?
It still falls under the same category of cost not equaling value. There's still people out there doing some remodel work to their house and stuff like that, but it's still not, from an appraisal standpoint, not appraising out to what their costs are going to be. You know, the nice part is the city of Wadena got that small cities development grant, which was just phenomenal. And where people were able to remodel a bunch of their homes and stuff like that. Commercial businesses were able to get some free money to do some stuff. I'm one of the ones that was able to do the multifamily process. I will admit it was a rigmarole. You know, anytime you're dealing with grant, and Katie, well, Katie does this every day, you know, working with grants and stuff like that. But for the average Joe like me, trying to navigate the grant process and the government and hoofta, I'm glad I'm bald already. So, because it would have been gone, it would have been gone for sure. Yeah, I mean, and it's a fantastic, you know, I hope that they get it again. And it was fascinating the number of people that did not show up for the hearings. I mean, the multifamily one, it was, they will pay for 70% of your upgrades up to $10,000 per unit. You know, so like I applied, what the heck, you know, put it out there, and, you know, I got it because nobody else applied. Like, okay, you know, and so that was it was an 8-plex, so $80,000 of the project is paid for. You know?
And I don't think that was because it was not advertised and promoted. I think it was promoted. I think, like you said, some people don't want to deal with going through all those hoops that you have to go through.
Yeah. Which is still, at the end of the day, fascinating to me. It's just like, okay, yeah, it's a bunch of work, it's annoying, and, you know, like, you got to deal with the government. You're getting it, like, and my argument to myself was, yeah, this is a pain in the butt and a lot of rigmarole and a lot of emails back and forth, but it's 80,000 stinking dollars. Like, get over it. You know? And so these programs that you guys have been able to land, you know, and grant stuff like that, holy, that does wonders and stuff like that. And and at the end of the day, am I happy I got that? Of course, you know, but you know what, the people that are going to win in the end are those tenants, right? They're going to have all these new things that I wouldn't have been able to financially do in that. I mean, I would have to do it over like 5 to 6 years versus all at once, get it all done, you know, and their rent barely even went up because of it. So they got all these upgrades and their rent went up $25, you know, for new windows, new doors, new boiler, soffit, fascia, stuff like that, or energy upgrades. And they pay for the heat. So, you know, it's like, at the end of the day, they're the ones that win too. So if those kind of grants can keep coming and stuff, I know that let's just say there's some few apartment buildings out there that could use that grant money.
Well, you should be the poster child for small cities money. Dean should take you on the road and have you give your little speech to folks.
Sure. And I'll give advice on removing ice dams too while I'm at it.
Yeah, maybe. Any other questions for Kyle? Feel free to unmute yourself. Going once. Going twice. All right, Kyle, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate all the information and insight you shared. Perfect.
Yeah, thanks, Katie.
Yeah. I'm just going to look and see who's on the call. Dean was not able to join us today, but Mayor Dice, do you have anything to share from the city of Wadena?
Okay. Everything is chugging along. This winter has been outstanding. Anybody wants snow, we're giving it away free now. As far as business wise, businesses all seem to be just doing outstanding. You go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and drive up and down Main Street, and the streets are packed, the restaurants are packed, the theater, people are back going to movies again, so that's kind of cool. The hospital project, we are going out, we accepted the low bid, and so for the infrastructure along Greenwood, so that's moving along. The library, I toured it the other day. They will be able to move in, I'm guessing by the end of April, 1st of May. It's pretty neat what they've done in there. I think everybody's going to be excited when they get a chance to see the finished product. So that's kind of neat. Oh, let's see, what else? Oh, I think that's about it.
I'm curious to hear, and maybe you could share how your search for a new administrator is going.
Oh, okay. We are down to, I believe it's 9 right now. And so we will be getting probably in the next week or so, the video interviews from them. And we will sort through them. Then at our March council meeting, they'll all be numbered. And we will pick our top 5 or 6 that will come in then for in-person interviews. We had, I believe it was 17 applicants to begin with, which was a lot more, I think 6 or 7 more than what we had when we went through it when we hired Jeanette. So hopefully there's another Jeanette in that bunch.
It's great to see there's that much interest too in that position. So best of luck sorting through all those. And we'll just wait to see who comes.
That's right. So we're excited about it. Looking forward to seeing the video interviews. So.
All right. Looking who else is on the call today for updates. Ryan, do you have anything you'd like to share from Tri-County?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple things have changed. So today we've just sent out an update to our staff. If you noticed last Friday, the CDC had changed some of their guidance again for masking in communities with low and moderate what do they call it, community spread. And so, but just reminders that healthcare facilities are still exempt from that. Healthcare, public transit. So we're still an organization that's still bound by those CDC rules. When patients still come into Tri-County, please, again, make sure you're wearing a mask. Actually, I'm down here in our courtyard, and those of us that are vaccinated and we're within the building and lower levels are kind of out of patient care. Today is the first day in probably about 8 months that we're able to be mask free in non-patient care areas. And so we've adopted some new mitigation phases as well for our own staff. So that's exciting to see. So we're starting to see smiling faces again, because again, since last fall, we've been masked up everywhere throughout the facilities. So our patient care areas will still have that. So that was kind of a big update for us here locally. Again, our local positivity rate is at 8.4%, state's down about 6%. So we're excited to see that trend still declining. So it's good to see that happening, especially as we get more towards spring and summer. So other than that, our big building project, obviously just on the west edge here of now Wadena, we actually gave a tour this weekend, and we're going to continue some community tours over the next 6 to 8 months as we get ready to move in. It's crazy to think that, groundbreaking was about 9 months ago, 10 months ago. And we're already now about 8 months or 10 months away from getting keys to the building to start doing staff training. The way Joel explains, it's basically like having 450 new employees because a brand new building, all the processes we have to go through. So very excited for what that looks like coming up for us. But I think other than that, that's really what I have for today.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Any questions for him? All right, thank you so much for joining us. Now I'll just open it up to the floor. Does anyone have any updates they'd like to share with their group? All right, I'm not seeing any of you unmuting, so we're gonna get done a little early today. But thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully I'll be able to see you in another 2 weeks. Happy Monday, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Ryan, hi, good to see you.